After hearing closing arguments from both the prosecution and the defense, the judge gave the jury instructions on how they would decide the case of Joseph Elledge. From a wellness Instagram account like this one, to meditation breaks, to free counseling services. I have two very different masks here, but they have one thing in common, and it's that they're both only recommended. It's little things like this, the little hand clackers that they're recommending you use instead of yelling. This area is within a mile of 4 different schools, and those are on your screen here. Right now, the city will only pick up your trash if it's in a city-provided trash bag like this one with the logo printed on it. The clinic doesn't start for another 2 hours, but if you take a look behind me, parking lots like this one are filled with cars. Right after the trial wrapped up for the day, we talked to a family friend of Ben Rennick. She said this isn't justice, and apparently in Missouri, the cost of a life is only 13 years. For one parent I talked to, the issue isn't the route delays or the long bus rides. It's the fact that there's no bus at all. And what's even more concerning, there's no clear solution.
So September 10th is when it started.
My daughter's routine is she comes in, she checks my phone. Hopefully there's notice on whether or not she'll have a bus, and then from there we figure out transportation.
For Melissa Little, transportation every morning is a toss-up.
They really haven't had a bus for like almost 2 weeks now, I think.
2 weeks of reworking her day.
It's been pretty challenging.
To fit in elementary school pickup and drop off.
Not having busing has cut into those hours where I could potentially be out making money to provide for our family. So it's cut down on what we can bring into the house.
In an interview with KBIA Radio,
any and everything is on the table.
Superintendent Yearwood said help could be on the way.
We've reached out to the National Guard, and by the way, they will gracious in beginning the process of allowing some of the reservists to help us with our bus situation, those that have their CDL.
But the National Guard said they never received a request. An emailed response said, at this time, SEMA has not received a request for assistance from Columbia Public Schools to have the National Guard assist in driving buses and getting students to school. A CPS spokesperson said they did reach out, but the conversation didn't get that far due to the Guard's deployment to assist with Hurricane Ida. That was at the end of August. She said, quote, "We had several conversations with representatives from the Guard. We never got to the point of officially requesting for a large-scale operation. They simply weren't available."
That hurts. That hurts me. That hurts my heart to know that there's a scholar out there that may be missing an educational opportunity because of a lack of transportation.
And currently, a lack of a solution.
It's a crisis. Not having transportation is essentially a crisis.
The CPS spokesperson said its bus situation is different from schools across the nation because its buses are privately contracted. She added that they need about 10 to 25 drivers, and that doesn't constitute a full deployment. A full deployment would have to go through SEMA, but of course they never got to that level of request. Reporting live in Columbia, Peyton Headlee, KOMU 8 News. After 2 years of unknowns, 10 days on trial, and 7 hours of deliberation, one thing is now clear. Joseph Elledge has been found guilty of second-degree murder of his wife, Meng Shiji.
She's dead.
It started with a bombshell.
She's laying there, in his bed.
For the first time in 2 years, the defense admitted Elledge killed his wife.
What happened was a tragic accident.
But says he killed her unintentionally.
He's almost in a disassociative state of denial.
Prosecuting attorney Dan Knight says Elledge planned to kill her and physically threatened her often.
Finally killed her at the apartment that they shared.
The jury heard hints of the couple's relationship through 9 hours of secret recorded conversations.
It's been a terrible relationship.
Text messages.
We're very cold most of the time.
And Elledge's journal.
Extensively wrote about how much he hated Monkshi.
But the defense said these conversations are just a snapshot of the couple's relationship. The jury also saw videos and pictures of G's shallow gravesite.
It didn't register to me that they were human bones.
A hiker found her skeletal remains in Rockbridge State Park.
And the whole situation kind of looked a little bit like something a kid would have done to make an altar.
It's also where experts testified that soil from the gravesite matched soil on Elledge's boots.
They showed similarities into where the victim's body was recovered.
But the most unconventional testimony of the trial.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth?
We got to hear from the only person who saw it happen.
I do.
Elledge himself.
She didn't seem to be breathing or moving in any way.
Elledge walked the jury through the hours before and after he says G died.
The walls are closing in on me.
And time closing in, G's body stayed in the trunk of her car for more than 24 hours.
I'm still thinking that I need to bury her body.
He took her body to Rockbridge the next morning and buried her, while his 1-year-old daughter waited in the car.
How do you feel about it now?
Shame, stupid.
And now, more than 2 years after it happened, it comes to an end. Again, we should know Elledge's prison sentence by the end of the night. The state just called up 2 of Mungshi's friends to the stand. One of them said she can't feel happy as long as she knows that Mungshi didn't get justice. Noah. This is the shot that helped Lillian Bridgman win her chance at $10,000. But the money was just the cherry on top for the Bridgman family. With both parents working in healthcare, months spent learning about the vaccine, and more than a year of taking every COVID-19 precaution, they say the prize for one of them felt like a reward for all of them. Every day of my life. 15-year-old Lillian Bridgman writes songs all the time.
I like writing songs. I do the ukulele and I practice. Yeah, I write songs every single day.
But something that doesn't happen every day.
So I found out I was in the lottery.
Lillian was one of more than 600,000 people who applied for the state's vaccine incentive program.
A perfect day.
But one of only 900 who won.
When I first found out, I was like walking home one afternoon from riding the bus, and my mom told me that I won the lottery, and I was so excited.
It was like a cherry on top for sure. We already thought that we won the lottery by just being able to get the vaccine.
Her mom has worked day in and day out of the pandemic.
It's been quite an adventure.
As an infectious disease doctor practicing internal medicine and pediatrics.
The vaccine has been such an important part of our life in the last couple of years. Has made such a difference in our life. We're so thrilled to be able to be a part of, celebrating the vaccine, actually.
11-year-old Charlotte is the youngest Bridgman.
But it's supposed to be a really good option.
She's not quite eligible for the vaccine yet or the lottery, but thinks her sister hit the jackpot.
Yes, I do.
It kind of felt like a reward because, we had gone through so much work, learning about the vaccine, going through a pandemic, and, my parents working in healthcare that, Lillian got a prize for it.
Her prize?
I won $10,000.
$10,000 to go toward a college savings account.
I'm going to use it to be in college.
I was pretty much jumping up and yelling because I was really excited for her because I knew that she had been really interested in colleges and that money would go to helping her at college.
I'm going to read my story.
Despite having Down syndrome, she has been dreaming about college for years already. She's only 15 and she's so excited. She has been researching colleges with special needs programs for years, actually. So to hear that she won money for college was very exciting.
And when she grows up,
a doctor.
Just like her mom and dad. Lillian is looking at colleges that have special needs programs. Right now, she has her eye on Texas Christian University and a couple of schools in California. In the studio, Peyton Headlee, KOMU 8 News.